Yep.
Microsoft is out with a new operating system for the first time in nearly 6 years. The company unveiled Windows 11 at an online event this morning. CNet's editor-at-large Ian Sherr joins us now to tell us everything we need to know about Windows 11. Ian, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
I know with Apple we see something new. It almost seems like less than every year. I know it's every year, but it's always something new happening with Apple. PC users had to wait for 6 years for this particular upgrade. Would you say that it was worth the wait?
It's really interesting to see what they're trying to do. In a lot of ways, they're taking Windows 10, which, as you pointed out, was first announced and released 6 years ago, and now they're changing it to be a lot more modern. They've been upgrading it slowly throughout the years. They actually have 2 major updates each year. But what they are doing now is that they're making the look of it feel very much like a phone or a tablet. So if you look at it, we of course have pictures on CNet. You'll see that, for example, the Start button, which is the iconic Microsoft thing, right, that you start everything with, it's moved from the bottom left of your screen to the middle, very much like a phone or a tablet. So they're doing a lot of that type of stuff. They're also making it, there's a lot more pastel colors and a lot more of the modern flourishes that we're used to seeing. They're also making it work a lot better with video games. They have the Xbox division that is one of the largest video game makers on the planet. And typically it's kind of in that weird building off to the side of Redmond, Washington in their headquarters. But now they're actually integrating it very much with the computers, which means that even if you are not a Call of Duty fan, even if you play stuff like Words with Friends, it's going to be a lot more kind of easy to play. And I think that's pretty fun.
So aesthetically speaking, they've upgraded. When it comes to gaming, they've upgraded. But have they upgraded with just standard computer usage, just for the everyday person trying to be productive with their device?
One thing that they are really trying to do is make it compelling for a lot of us who are experiencing this new world of hybrid work, right? Where a lot of people are suddenly considering whether or not there's a computer at work, there's a computer at home. Maybe you're working 2 or 3 days from home or 2 or 3 days from work. And so as a result, you have a lot of stuff that's sitting in between the two. And one of the ways they're trying to make it a lot easier is that you can actually set up your computer to have kind of a work profile, if you will, right? Where if you turn it into work mode, suddenly all of your fun apps and games can disappear off the desktop, and they can organize your windows in just such a way that it's easy to find your email and all that. And they're really trying to make it so that it'll feel like you can go between these different contexts, as it were, right? And feel like it's comfortable. They're also going to make it so that a lot of these things synchronize a lot easier. So even if you have a computer at work and you have a different one at home, it won't feel like you have to worry about which one has what stuff on it. And a lot of those types of things as well. So they're definitely trying to think these things through.
So when an announcement is made, it's not typically when the product is available. When will Windows 11 be available for use?
Yeah, so typically Microsoft takes about 12 to 18 months from when they announce, because there are thousands and thousands of computer part makers who have to get on board. But Microsoft says that they have worked really hard to make it so that this will be as painless as possible. You can write that down and quote me and say that Microsoft said it when maybe things are not as easy as possible, but they're going to release it in the fall. So it's actually going to be just a few months from now. It'll be a free upgrade for everyone who already has Windows. So that's like 80% of the people on the planet. And for those who are also interested, it's going to be able to be upgraded straight from software updates. So you won't even have to really think about it when the time comes.
So a pretty seamless transition.
Yeah.
Ian, Microsoft Teams became as popular as Zoom for many companies during the pandemic. I know we use it here. How do you think Microsoft Teams has reimagined their business model over the past year? I'm sure that there has to be some changes that had to have been made in order to kind of keep up with the demand.
Yeah, definitely. They've added a lot of features that compete very much with both Zoom and Slack, right, which is the kind of communication tool that a lot of people use in businesses. And what they're trying to do really is be kind of what Skype always wanted to be, right? Which was this video chat, sharing files, sharing everything, make it easy for you to communicate outside of the world of your phone. And what's interesting is that with Windows 11, one of the things that Microsoft did is that they're building Teams straight into the computer, which means that, in the bottom right, you've got typically the time of day and all these different icons. Well, it's going to live there. And what's going to happen is that since everyone can download Teams for their Apple or for their Androids or for Windows, it's going to suddenly seem like it's going to be a lot easier to use that instead of maybe FaceTime, which is, of course, part of what they're hoping for. Maybe they should change it to be called Team Time. But I'm really curious to see where it's going to go and whether something that feels so corporate as the name Teams can still become popular among everyone else.
How do you think it'll work on mobile devices? Do you think that'll change?
It's going to be very similar to how it's been. They've been upgrading it a lot. And frankly, it's not bad. Microsoft, of course, whenever I chat with them, they want me to use Teams. So I've gotten experience with it, even though we at work use Zoom. And it works perfectly fine, right? It's not hard to use. I think what the thing is that it's getting people to use it at all. They give it away for free, which means a lot of people don't see value in it as much as they might see in Zoom, which charges you if you want to use all of its features, and FaceTime, which is built right into the iPhone. So it's those types of things, right? There's a lot that Microsoft has to go up against, but I have a feeling they're early on in all of this fight, and there's probably going to be a lot of change as people get comfortable with whatever the new reality of work is.
All right. Well, Ian Sherr, we always appreciate you giving us your time and your expertise in this crazy world of tech. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.